At a heated debate between, fans pitting government as, parties opposed, that is either government and those in the opposition. Now let's highlight and give you more details about a story that you have come across, I'm sure, courtesy of social media, where our very own reporter had quite the moment among jumbos. Now, this is a story about orphaned and rescued elephants, one which has drawn attention across the country and beyond long before being televised. A video clip borrowed from this news feature went viral as KBC reporters' piece-it camera was politely interrupted by an elephant's trunk. Here is a feature orphaned and rescued by none other than Alvin Kaunda.
Just like you and I, they too have got names. Welcome to a special home for the elephants. Not an ordinary home for ordinary jumbos. This is where orphaned baby elephants find solace, the much needed peace of mind. Each one of them is a story. All the baby elephants are victims of poaching, human-animal conflict or drought.
Our biggest challenge has been the drought and human-wildlife conflict. They go in a line because animals out there, they are suffering from drought. They don't have food, and the only food, the greenish, they can spot, it is the crops that people are planting for their own use. So my two elephants.
At the heart of Nairobi National Park, the world's only national park within a city, lies the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. Home to more than 100 orphaned elephants, the trust works closely with the Kenya Wildlife Service, the Kenya Forest Service and local communities to secure safe havens for wildlife through the effective management and protection of ecosystems and wilderness areas in Kenya.
So we need more people to come to board. We need more school children. We need more organization, because at the end we also need funding. Without funds, the animals cannot survive. They need milk. The milk is not manufactured here in Kenya.
Since inception 45 years ago, the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust has successfully raised up to 316 elephants. Most of the orphans currently in this nursery are victims of the current drought that has impacted both human and wildlife.
It is a goal. It is nature. You have to have that big heart, because it's not an easy job. You have to give in your life. It's a life-giving job. We go out there to rescue them from the wild. Some of them, they are in a very devastating manner, conditions. Some are good as dead. And we will want them all to survive. But not all that we bring in will survive. Some of them have already given up on life. And you will imagine you're going, wasting all your time to go out there to go rescue them with an intention of giving them a second chance to survive.
Founded in 1977 by the late Dame Daphne Sheldrick, wife to the late David Sheldrick, this trust fund is currently run by their daughter Angela, who took over from her mother.
When you raise an elephant, and you know that elephant's going to be living wild probably 50, 60, 70 years, you have to see the big picture. It's no good just raising the elephant and tipping it back into the wild without doing your best to keep it and its wild friends safe in the natural habitat that it's going to be living in.
The name given to each elephant depends on the state they were found, location and character.
And, when the elephants or the orphans comes to the nursery, one, it depends on the condition, body condition. Some of them will come in when they're still strong, and they will always behave or react like any other wild elephant out there. Such elephants, it depends on their personalities. Some are so quick to forgive, some are so quick to forget what happened to them. Some have encountered rowdy human beings. They have even wounds, they are nursing wounds, spear wounds that was inflicted by these human beings.
They all live in individual enclosures with individual caretaker who rotate and switch enclosures to avoid the animal building an attachment to individual caretakers. Since elephants are not solitary creatures, they need the caretakers to literally sleep with them under the same roof overnight. After the elephants are taken care of and are of age, they are usually transferred to the Savo East National Park and Kibwezi reintegration units, where they currently have over 100 elephants and more than 30 in the nursery who are still milk dependent.
For the orphans will always be fed on a very special baby human formula at allowance of after every 3 hours around the clock 24/7.
When Daphne started the organization, she however faced challenges with the feeding program for the orphaned elephants. Elephant milk has very low fat content, but she however perfected the milk formula and necessary husbandry for infant milk dependent elephants, discovering that coconut oil was the nearest substitute for the fat in the elephant milk.
This was done after a very long 28 years of trials and errors, and since she came up with this formula, so many of these orphans have survived and gone back into the wild.
The Sheldrick Wildlife Trust runs solely through charitable donations and adoption programs where Goodwill, Well Wishers and other organizations help in funding the project. Just like humans, elephants are family-oriented and they live in groups, and leaving elephants in solitary confinement can lead to stress for the elephants. Over 40 years, the former orphans of the Trust's rehabilitation program have given birth to more than 25 wild-born babies. The current drought in Kenya has resulted in the death of 205 elephants. It is said charity begins at home. And for these young orphaned elephants, this charitable foundation is what they call home. It is the place where they discover and are taught life's lessons, experience love and grapple with loss. And even for millions of other species, home hangs in the balance. Human actions are destroying habitats, decimating our entire ecosystem and disrupting the circle of life. And with the rise in drought cases, it is up to us to be guardians of our own natural world, save our wild species and provide a home. For not only our elephants, but for all creatures who have lost their own. It is not a mission of a moment, but of generations, and that is why organizations like the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is working hard to face today's threats and prepare for tomorrow's challenges. It is a monumental task, an exercise of perseverance, a labor of love, and most of all, to preserve the place where all things began. After all that life has is just one home. Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I'm Alvin Kaunda.